CoCensus is an interactive data map display designed to allow museum visitors to collaboratively explore census data. Our design metaphor is that of an imperfect mirror. Visitors see an aspect of the data set that represents them coalesce as they approach the display. So as they move, they can see themselves reflected in the larger data set. This project came about when Josh and I posed ourselves a question. What happens when the social and scientific artifacts in museums are no longer just collections of, say, ancient pottery or taxonomic specimens, but are themselves large data sets? More and more museums are becoming interested in how you can present these large data sets to visitors, especially as a lot of current scientific and cultural endeavor produces these large data sets, like the Human Genome Project. But it's sort of an open question, how you can present this to people and still have it be engaging. The technique that we're using is embodied interaction.
So if you step back...
Embodied interaction is a human-computer interaction technique that takes advantage of the way people move their bodies to control interaction with a digital display. Visitors select a passport corresponding to their ancestry or ethnic heritage and walk into the exhibit space, which uses a hybrid of two sensing technologies so the display can respond to each visitor's presence. The display reflects a visitor by showing how many people living in a region have the same ethnic background as the passport they chose.
The data that we chose to use for the maps is the U.S. Census data. As a resource, it's a powerful data set to use. And it's powerful because it reflects who we think we are. It's an answer to the question of who are we. And the questions that we choose to ask tell us a lot about ourselves as a society. And then the way we choose to answer those questions give us a reflection of who we are. So the census is like a mirror, but it's an imperfect mirror. It does not reflect us in an accurate and direct way. There are distortions. There are people who are omitted in the census. And the questions about identity really force us into categories to say who we are. So we think that it's a powerful example to use in this exhibit because it allows people to engage with this reflection of ourselves, to question it.
Our system works by combining two sensing technologies. The Kinect mounted on top of the display has a camera to track visitors. It can tell the system precisely where the users are located in the interaction area and how they are moving, so the display can respond accordingly. Kinects aren't so great at uniquely recognizing individuals, though. To fix that problem, we hid RFID cards inside the passports. Two RFID antennae are mounted beside the screen, sending out signals. When someone enters the space carrying a passport, those cards talk back to the antenna in order to tell the system who is there, that is, which data set to display on the screen. This identity information is linked to the position data provided by the Kinect.
We're seeing visitors engage with these data maps in really interesting ways. They use the display to tell their personal stories to one another, to talk about where they live, where their families come from, and also making observations about places on the map, local neighborhood places that they're familiar with.
Very strange. Well, you seem very big out on the west side.
Yeah.
But what happened?
And at the same time, we see people doing this spatial and quantitative reasoning, talking about a concentration in this area or the dispersion of a group across an area.
It's interesting because these are actually, the reason where the pillars are clustered really focuses on industrial areas too, like the two big airports.
They're also touching on social phenomena, so that they use a word like segregation to describe the pattern that they see. One of our inspirations in beginning this project was the beautiful color maps of the Hull House area done by Jane Addams and her colleagues a century ago. What's a 21st century version of this technology, showing these maps in a more dynamic, interactive way?
We hope that by personalizing the data, we're going to problematize it for learners in a productive way. Becoming comfortable with really large data sets is an increasingly important 21st century skill, one that museums are uniquely positioned to address.